Hey everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me today for a unique card rummage. We're going to look at the 8 cards laid out in this stack, each of which is in a one-touch magnetic, so it tells you I hold them in a certain level of esteem. And I think what each of these has in common, other than laying around somewhere here in my card room slash home office and needing to be put away, is that they're all unique cards to an extent. And the longer that I've been at it and collecting, the more I find myself gravitating towards cards that are unique or that you can't always find readily available. Like I love vintage baseball, for example, and I've done numerous videos on that recently. I'm not knocking vintage baseball in any way. I enjoy collecting it and I will continue to collect it. But for the most part, especially post-war era vintage, 1952 Topps and onward, or 51, 50 Bowman, wherever you want to draw a line, 48 Bowman and onward. Most of those cards are not scarce. They're readily available. And if you have the money, you can go out and find one pretty easily, depending on your condition requirements. So today's cards are a little bit tougher for various reasons. And we're going to start with some autographed cards. So this here is a great Wade Boggs auto. This is from 2012 Leaf Memories. And I don't know if the lighting's going to cooperate, maybe. But you can see in the upper left here, 2012 Memories Buyback. So this is a 1990 Leaf Wade Boggs card that was issued in packs in 1990. But in 2012, the Leaf company bought this back, stamped it out of 26 copies. So I have copy 25 of 26, kind of an odd number there. They had Wade autograph this. This is not a sticker auto. It's a hard signed Boggs auto. Then they reissued this in their Leaf Memories product in 2012. So 22 years after the fact, a 90 Leaf autograph, just 26 of these out there. I know that's artificial scarcity because there are tons of 90 Leaf cards out there that he could sign, authenticated or not. But I'm a sucker for buybacks, and that 90 Leaf set, if you were collecting in 1990, that set was a big deal. Like, to me, I was a kid at the time, but 90 Leaf had like the same impact as 89 Upper Deck in terms of just things getting kicked up a level. So love 90 Leaf. Love that Boggs auto. Shout out to John, Wade Boggs fan, of course. I have another auto here that is not so valuable or scarce, but it is numbered to, I think, 65 copies. A little tougher to make out. From 2018 Topps, this is the Chrome Whit Merrifield, autoed and included in that Archive Signature Series release. I've talked about this before. I've shown a lot of 1990 Topps autos from this set, which is primarily what I collect. But I did grab this one because I ran across it for like $5. And I think Whit is an under-the-radar kind of good player. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but he is like a fan favorite. He's led in some statistical categories throughout his career, racks up a ton of hits. He's kind of a good all-around player, steals some bases, good contact hitter, and just love the 2018 Topps release and Topps Chrome release. I think it's a significant year in the history of Topps baseball. Just have some big rookies. I love the design with the wave here. And so, yeah, was drawn to that for about $5. That Whit Merrifield, I'm not sure that's a card I'll keep forever, but couldn't turn it down at the price. And then I think this might be the third and final auto. Just looking quickly. Yeah, this is the final auto in today's little stack, and it's a hockey card. This is Willie OReilly of the Boston Bruins, and this is a hard-signed auto out of 2005 Parkhurst. And the reason this card is significant, for those of you that don't know or aren't hockey fans, Willie OReilly integrated the sport of hockey in the same way that Jackie Robinson and Monty Irvin and Larry Doby and many others integrated the sport of baseball in the late 40s into the 50s. Willie OReilly integrated the sport of hockey, and he did it for my hometown Boston Bruins. He was not a Jackie Robinson tier player or Monty Irvin or Larry Doby. Did not play for a very long time in the NHL, but obviously is super important for that reason alone. And beyond that, he's really gone on to become like an ambassador for the game of hockey, bringing hockey to the youth, making it more accessible, especially for inner city children. He's still involved in the game to this day. And you can tell from this photo, I mean, he was coming of age with the Bruins in like late 50s, early 60s, I think. So he is a very old man these days, getting up there in years, but he is still involved in the game and with the NHL, and was recently inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. Was long overdue, and I'm glad to see him get in while he was still alive to be honored. So that is a fantastic autograph. Have not looked at Willie OReilly autos in years, so I don't know if they've gone up since his Hall of Fame induction, but for a long time, those were a great buy. Very, very cheap, and a super significant name in the history of the sport that I love. Next up, back to baseball here. This is a really nice, one of those short printed image variations from 2013 Topps. This was a Series 2 card. And what this depicts, if you haven't already figured it out, is David Ortiz giving his speech, his infamous speech to the Fenway faithful in the wake of the Boston Marathon bombing, which took place earlier in 2013. Because this is a Series 2 card, and that event took place in April, they were able to get this photo in and get this included as a short printed image variation in 2013 Topps Series 2. I do not know what the insertion ratio was for these images, but I can tell you anecdotally, they are not easy. They weren't easy 10 years ago when the set came out, and they've only gotten more difficult with time, with the passage of time. I believe this card goes for several $100s now, if you can find one, just because of the significance of that image and that memory that a lot of Bostonians and really people nationwide probably have of that event and of that season. So as a Red Sox fan and a David Ortiz fan, that is definitely one of my favorite and better Big Papi cards. So I'm happy to have that one and glad to finally have a chance to show it off here on the channel. Next up, we have another buyback. So we started with the Wade Boggs autographed buyback. This one here is a hockey buyback, and I am just so happy that I tracked this down. I picked this up within the last year. This is from 2010 Upper Deck, the French version. So they release a French language version of the Upper Deck set, I think in Canada only, most years, or I think every year. And in 2010, they did a buyback program. So you can see this big silver stamp here. It's a little bit difficult to make out, but on the left side, it has the year 1990. On the right side, 2010. Then it says 20th anniversary. So these were 20th anniversary buybacks, tributes to that original Upper Deck set. So they purchased some factory sets or acquired some 1990 Upper Deck cards that have been out in the wild for 20 years. They stamped them all with this Upper Deck silver stamp, and they released these as pack inserts in very limited quantities in that French Upper Deck release in 2010. So first of all, the French release you have to find. These are not going to be in the standard US release. They print that in much smaller quantities, and you only got one, maybe two of these per hobby box, and they parallel the entire 1990 Upper Deck set, which is like 500 cards deep, something like that. So the odds of finding any one player, I've never seen print runs officially announced or confirmed for this, but just crunching the numbers, I've done it based on insertion ratios of other inserts, and other friends of mine in the hobby have as well. And, you know, it may vary by player, but I believe there to be somewhere in the realm of maybe 10 to 20 each of these in existence. And so to get a Lemieux, a Super Mario, as a fan of buybacks and an Upper Deck hockey fan, doesn't get much better than this. This is easily one of my best Mario Lemieux hockey cards, and a card that if you didn't really understand the scarcity behind it, you could overlook it, but sneaky good one there. We'll put Mario up in the background. All right, just 3 cards left here. 1 hockey and 2 baseball. Let's do the hockey first, and then we'll finish it out with baseball. This is maybe my favorite hockey relic that I've acquired in my time collecting. I've shown some hockey stick relics recently in a couple of videos. This is a goalie pad relic, and it's from the days of the brown leather goalie pad. This is a Jerry Cheevers from In the Game Between the Pipes supersized pads. Check that out. Cheevers, of course, Stanley Cup champion with my hometown Boston Bruins in the early 70s, Hall of Famer, and he also did color commentary when I was growing up for the Hartford Whalers games, TV broadcasts in Connecticut, so I heard a ton of Jerry Cheevers. So he's one of my favorite sports personalities for that reason. And yeah, he played in the era with this mask type and the brown leather pads and the wooden stick. And this is a piece presumably of like a leg pad, I would guess, a brown leather leg pad. But look at the wear on this and the size of this leather chunk. Like, that is just too cool. We take a look at the back. This is a game-used Jerry Cheevers pad. And those of you that are hockey collectors or were familiar with Brian Price or his company In the Game, especially back in this era, early 2000s to mid 2000s, or late 2000s in this case, they were known for the authenticity and of their relics and kind of being above the table, above board. So I really, really love this card. Not serial numbered. I don't know how many are out there, but they're not easy to come by. I think this is the only one I have, although I have been tempted to pick up one or two other goalies. I have not gone there yet, but yeah, just a cool relic, maybe the coolest relic overall in my entire collection. Just love that card. And then let's finish it off with the two baseball cards here. One I've shown before, one I haven't. So the one I've shown before, this is a buyback again from the 2015 program, and I showed this on a guest appearance that I did, but I don't know that I've shown it on my own channel. It's Roberto Clemente's final Topps card, the 1973 Topps release. And it is the 2015 Topps original buyback version of this card. So this is an original 73, just like the other buybacks we talked about in this video. Topps acquired it somehow through a dealer, at a show, on the internet, I don't know. Stamped it, and then it was issued in the 2015 Topps update set as a pack-issued insert. This original 73 Clemente. So print runs on these are not ever announced on these buybacks, so there's really no way to know. My personal belief is that this very well may be a one-of-one Clemente. I've never seen another in all my years of searching and having saved searches and becoming kind of an expert in these buybacks, and I still have those saved searches to this day, always scouring. This is the only one I've ever seen, and I'm fairly certain it may be the only one in existence. So you may think it's a little bit gimmicky, I can understand that, but to me, again, fits the theme of today's video, which is cards you just don't see. And then lastly, we're going to stick with baseball and stick with an old-time Hall of Famer, but we're going to fast forward to a brand new or relatively new release, the most recent Topps Stadium Club set to hit the market, which was the 2022 release, included just an awesome card of Hank Aaron. And here it is. I picked it up in a tough parallel. Look at that image on this Hank Aaron card. Hank and Willie just chumming it up, smiling, probably pre-game here at an all-star game festivities. I'm not entirely sure where the source of this photo is, but I know I'm not the only one that fell in love with this card. Stadium Club, of course, known for having great photography every single year, but they really outdid themselves with this one. I just absolutely adore this photograph. And so I tracked down this parallel you can see here, members only, and these fell at 1 per hobby case. And there are 300 cards on the Stadium Club checklist in 2022, and every one of them has a members only parallel that falls 1 per case. So in theory, with perfect collation, there would be one of these Hank Aaron members only in every 300 hobby cases, not boxes, of 2022 Stadium Club. So I love that kind of scarcity of that parallel. It's how I like collecting modern. The base card is great too. I have a copy of the base card that I got for 18 cents on Sport Lots, but wanted to get something a little bit tougher than that with a little bit more value and scarcity to it, and went with that members only parallel. But props to the Topps company for their photo selection. That is easily one of the favorite Hank Aaron photos of any card in my collection. Just very, very well done there. Love that cameo by the Say Hey Kid. And that is a wrap on today's video. I'm surprised, but also not surprised that I went 15 minutes talking about just 8 cards. But I think each of these 8 cards is pretty special in and of itself and in its own right. And I hope you saw at least 1 or 2 of them among today's selection that were interesting to you. I truly appreciate your support and time. I will keep the videos coming. And in the meantime, stay safe and enjoy the hobby. Take care, everybody.